We'll be talking about Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon. Facts about him. He was the greatest king of the Neo-Babylonian Empire, and he had expanded his kingdom to the Assyrian empires and had taken over all of those states. He was known for his military might because of how strict and oppressive he could be, and everyone had feared him. He was also known for the splendorness of his capital because of how beautiful and clean he made it. And he was also known for his important part in the Jewish history, like how he had ruled over them and put them in captivity. And he was also the successor to the throne from his father. The beginning of the process. Ever since he was a child, he had always had a dream of ruling the whole entire world. People, of course, were being haters and thought he was selfish and called him a little man because of how adamant he could be. But when his father hired him to become the chief military leader, everyone had feared him because of his rules and how he could yell at people and how strict and oppressive he was. And everyone had a fearful aura around him. And according to record, he carved his likeness into the king's image. Fun fact. His intelligence. Nebuchadnezzar had a reputation for his beliefs. Because he was super smart, he never had denied the existence of God, even though he had not believed in him. He would also acknowledge God when he got letters that were from God, which were delivered from his prophets and disciples. But due to all circumstances, and like all tyrannical leaders, he would reject God because of his naughty behavior. The feud with Egypt. He would have a feud with the Egyptians because he wanted the land Syria, which was currently in Egyptian rule by Necho, the Egyptian pharaoh. So, in order to gain that land, he had fought the Egyptian army and defeated them at Carchemish. And right as he defeated them, the Egyptians were retreating, but he had pursued them and had made them his personal slaves. And Nebuchadnezzar now had control of Syria. Next target, the land of Israel. After conquering the Egyptians, he had the land of Israel in his sights, because ever since he was little, he had always dreamt of ruling Israel and Judea. And he had destroyed Ashkelon, which established his rule over Israel. Jehoiakim, king of Judah, did not want to submit to the Babylonians because the pharaoh who had appointed him to become king of Judah was Necho, the pharaoh who recently got taken over by Nebuchadnezzar. So in order to get his throne back, he tried to team up with the Egyptians to take Nebuchadnezzar off the throne. But the plan had failed, and he was told to return to Nebuchadnezzar, and for punishment, he died a gruesome death. The Holy Temple. Nebuchadnezzar had always thought of taking over the Holy Temple, but due to his intelligence, he always knew that God would not accept that. So in order for his plan to work, he hired a sorcerer, and every time he shot arrows at various kingdoms, every arrow that he shot at went down except the arrow of Jerusalem, signaling to him that he could have a victory. So in order to take down the Holy Temple, he had hired Nebuzaradan, the commander, to take down the Holy Temple. He was instructed to take it down before the Israelites do their evil things, which is pray to the Lord for safety. Nebuzaradan was going to retreat, but heard a heavenly voice that was urging him to attack one last time. And he had followed that voice, and it worked, and he had now destroyed the Holy Temple. But due to unforeseen circumstances, he had seen his arch nemesis' birth. The Jews are now in Babylonian captivity. The king had plans to humiliate the Jews. He made them parade around the streets while being naked, which is very graphic and not allowed, in my opinion. When they were not working, they were instructed to fill parchment scrolls and sew them and fill it with sand and carry them on their shoulders. How God used Nebuchadnezzar. Even though his actions and tactics were cruel, some of those actions and tactics were actually instructed by God. In Jeremiah 25:9, God tells Nebuchadnezzar to make the Israelites obey when they were being disobedient through punishment. In Jeremiah 43:10, God talks about how Nebuchadnezzar would have his kingdom expanded by God because he had done what God had told him to do. The transition to Christianity. He had a secular worldview, but had transferred to Christianity and became a believer in Christ after all those years of trying to make people worship him like if he was a golden image. And it states in Daniel 28:30 that Nebuchadnezzar had now believed in God and was saying, anyone who does not believe in him shall turn into rubble, theoretically. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and I hope all of you guys have a blessed day. Thank you.